Welcome inside fitnessinformant.com, Fitness Informant's YouTube channel and social media channels. I'm F5 founder and CEO Ryan Buckeye here with a product breakdown of a new non-stim fat burning capsule from our friends at Cellucor. This is called Super Thermo. This is available at nationwide retailers as well as Cellucor's official website. But the question is it worth the price tag and could it potentially work for you? The non-stim fat burning category is very interesting because there's several different ways you can go about it. Now, I'm personally a fan of stim-based fat burners because stimulants can help stimulate the CNS, increase metabolism, move fatty acids through the body, be burned off as fuel, etc. But non-stim fat burners have a place. They're stackable, and if they're done right, formulated correctly, they can be really well done. I will say this in terms of a spoiler here early off. I really enjoyed what Cellucor did with Super Thermo here in terms of the non-stim ingredients. So let's dive in to the SFP, explain to you what's in this in terms of ingredients and dosages, what it's meant to do, the mechanisms of action, and then whether or not this might be something you want to consider here in the future as you gear towards your fat loss or caloric deficit. You know, if it's summer shredding or whatever it is that you're doing, or if you're just on a diet and need some help to get you over the hump in terms of some stubborn abdominal fat. So let's look here first. The first ingredient here above the active ingredient line is Chromax Chromium. This is an interesting ingredient from Nutrition 21. It is extremely bioavailable, and what it does is it helps regulate insulin and glucose uptake in the body. Obviously, when you ingest carbohydrates, it's converted into glucose or sugar in your blood. That is what your body uses as fuel and burns it off as energy source while you're working out, etc. However, if it's stored, it can lead to fat and fat gains, which is what you don't want from an overconsumption of a carbohydrate meal. That's why you see in a GDA or a glucose disposal agent using certain ingredients that look at specifically that, the uptake of glucose and metabolizing it correctly to be burned off as fuel. So chromium, again, the Chromax, the patent version of chromium here from Nutrition 21, very well done at a really good dosage. The first ingredient here in the actives is an ingredient that you don't see very often when it comes to non-stim or even stim-based fat burners. It is DNF10 at 500 milligrams. Now, this is a very interesting ingredient because it isn't a blood glucose regulating ingredient. It's actually an appetite suppressant. So it actually gives feeling of satiety from individuals. Two different studies, human clinicals, the group that actually consumed DNF10 actually had better body composition, lost abdominal body fat, because specifically the satiation, the satiety, the feeling of fullness, and not overeating. So that's typically what a lot of people who are on maybe a deficit, you get those cravings. If you get the feeling of being full or satiated throughout the day, you don't necessarily want or need to eat. So this is a very cool scientific ingredient used here at a good dosage of 500 milligrams in a non-stim fat burner. Again, that's gonna help control your appetite and your cravings. Next ingredient here is berberine HCl at 400 milligrams. Going back to insulin sensitivity and blood glucose regulation, berberine, very popular ingredient, very well studied ingredient, and it's a proven ingredient to help with that. So essentially, instead of storing the blood glucose in as fat, you can be burned off as fuel and help transport that through the system to do exactly what it's supposed to do for you. Next ingredient here is 5-HTP at 100 milligrams. 5-HTP is the precursor to serotonin. Serotonin is what your body releases and what makes you feel good. Serotonin can also help regulate and basically take care of your appetite, so that way you're not, again, kind of going back to the DNF10, you're not getting cravings and hunger cues in terms of overeating or boredom eating. So the serotonin release elevates your mood, helps control appetite, and keep you on track to reach your goals. Next ingredient here is banana leaf extract at 50 milligrams. This is standardized to 1% cortisolic acid. This is going to go back again to insulin sensitivity and blood glucose regulation. So when you're talking about a non-stim fat burner, it's really two areas that you want to look at, and the mechanisms are appetite suppressant. How do you control appetite? The second area is how do you regulate and utilize glucose and insulin in the body? The third area, which we're going to talk about here shortly, is you can achieve thermogenesis without using stimulants, which we're going to talk about here just in a second. But banana leaf extract used at 50 milligrams, standardized till 1% cortisolic acid. Good dosage of this too. So a combination of this, the combination of berberine and the Chromax Chromium in this, going to help essentially utilize glucose, regulate insulin sensitivity, and make sure, like, hey, we're not storing unnecessary things in our body as fat. We're going to be utilizing them, burning them off as fuel, or transporting them to where they're going to be burned off and utilized as fuel. The last ingredient here is capsaicin cayenne fruit extract at 20 milligrams. So cayenne, think cayenne peppers. It comes from the fruit, the cayenne pepper fruit, or the pepper fruit. It can increase thermogenesis. You can feel it actually go down in your system sometimes. This in a capsule form, it's not as bad. You don't necessarily feel it till it gets into your stomach, but you can feel your stomach get really warm to the point where your entire body will elevate its temperature, and you'll start start to have increased perspiration and sweat. Literally, capsaicin, there's studies that show like dosing with cayenne pepper and forms of that can actually help your body burn the caloric efficient equivalent to running a half a mile, which is insane to think about. Now, you're not going to be popping these pills and just expecting to burn calories like you ran a half a mile, but there's studies out there that say it can help contribute to overall fat loss and thermogenesis consumption with or without exercise. So overall, in terms of this formula being a non-stim, I do like it. I think that they kind of attack the three pillars of a non-stim fat burner. They attack glucose sensitivity and glucose insulin regulation, or insulin sensitivity and glucose regulation in the body. They attack thermogenesis slightly with the cayenne pepper. And then they also look at appetite suppressant and appetite control, which are three major things when it comes to a non-stim fat burner. If you want to learn more about this product, look below in the description for a link to take you to fitnessinformant.com for a more scientific breakdown of each individual line of them on the SFP on this particular product. You want to purchase this product, look below. We'll have a link to take you to one of the major retailer websites or Cellucor's official website. Check to see if there's a discount code as well to save you a few dollars. Make sure you subscribe to our social media channels. We are online. We are on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. And we're right here at YouTube as well. So hit that subscribe now button to stay up to date with all new product breakdown videos from us here at FI. And for more product breakdowns, fitness routines, nutrition plans, and more, check us out on our official website. We're online at fitnessinformant.com.